If you've ever worked shoulder mobility, then you probably know what a swimmer hover is. A swimmer hover takes the shoulder through flexion, abduction, extension, rotation of the arm from the shoulder, and it also increases the strength of the active range of motion of the scapula and the upper back. So the swimmer is a really well-rounded exercise for expressing your mobility for the upper body. It's great as a movement prep before you begin upper body work. It's great as a cool down. It's great on its own as a mobility drill. So we're going to break that movement down today by breaking each section of the swimmer into parts. And I'll show you how to modify or make these movements more challenging. And then we're going to put it all together for our swimmer at the end. We're going to need a couple of yoga blocks or something similar. We're just going to be using these to hover the arms over or to place your forehead on. And perhaps something smaller for your forehead like a slider or a foam AirX pad. So let's get started. Let's talk about the parts of the swimmer hover. We have shoulder flexion, shoulder abduction, shoulder extension. Let's go through these three movements first. And we're going to start lying on the ground. Now, the first one, shoulder flexion, is the most difficult. So if you're having trouble with this one, the easiest thing to do to make it more accessible is to bring your body up away from the floor. Since we're going to be lifting the arms away from the ground, the closer my shoulder is to the ground, the harder it's going to be to lift. So if I just move my upper body away from the floor by either resting my forehead on some yoga blocks or a bench or a chair, then I'm going to be able to lift my arms up into that shoulder flexion position a little bit easier because we'll be starting with the arms further in front of you. So that's always a modification for any of these movements. You could even do your entire swimmer hover from this position here. All right? You'll still get benefits out of that movement. In fact, you'll probably get more benefits out of that movement because you'll be able to extend the arms fully and really get the most movement out of those shoulders that you possibly can without straining. So back to shoulder flexion. You're going to find your modification for your base position. You could also place your forehead on something soft like a pillow, AirX pad, foam slider, something like that. So we're going to be lying face down with your forehead slightly elevated if you would like. And then you're going to reach your arms up at 11 and 1 o'clock. So I'm going to point my right hand towards 1 o'clock, my left hand towards 11 o'clock. And I want you to make a tight fist with thumbs up. So the thumbs are going to be facing up in this position. I want you to extend the elbows all the way. That's a common theme of this movement. Once the elbows straighten, they stay there. And then I want you to take your shoulders and reach them down away from the ears. The rest of your body is going to be active by driving into the ground. So I'm pushing down into the ground with my feet, which is going to engage my abdominals, which gives my spine some support so my arms can move freely. So from here, we're just going to lift up into shoulder flexion, making sure that nothing changes except the arms lift up, hold, 3, 2, 1, and then come back down. If the elbows started to bend, try to keep them straight the next rep, or you could lift your shoulders up away from the floor to make it a little bit more accessible for you. Let's do that again. Lifting up into shoulder flexion. We want to try to squeeze those biceps towards the ears as much as possible without letting those elbows bend or the shoulders slide up or the rib cage or hips stick out. Hold and down. Let's try that one more time. Lifting up into shoulder flexion. Biceps next to those ears. Keep pressing down into the floor. Thumbs are facing up and down. Let's move into our next movement, which is shoulder abduction. So you're on the analog clock. You're going to side your right hand towards 3 o'clock and the left hand towards 9 o'clock. Same thing. The thumbs are still going to be facing up here. And now we're going to lift in shoulder abduction. This one is much easier to lift the arms off the ground. But what I want you to focus on is squeezing the shoulder blades together. So we're squeezing the shoulder blades together to lift those arms straight up. Try to keep those thumbs facing the ceiling. Once again, make sure that the shoulders stay away from the ears and that we're pressing into the floor with those feet. Bring those arms back down. And let's do that 2 more times. Lifting up and hold. Keeping those elbows straight, thumbs facing up. And slowly come back down. And let's go one last time. Lifting up, hold. This is our shoulder abduction. Arms are at 3 and 9 o'clock and down. Okay, so we have our flexion and our abduction. Now we're gonna reach back to shoulder extension. So from this position, I want you to turn your thumbs forward. I want you to turn your thumbs down. And then I want you to turn your thumbs behind you, the opposite direction. Then you're gonna keep that rotation as you slide the hands towards your hips. So now both hands are reaching towards 5 and 7 o'clock, or even right next to your hips. Then you're gonna keep rotating so the thumbs are almost flipping in and all the way up behind you. Once again, shoulders stay away from the ears, elbows stay nice and straight. We're in internal shoulder rotation now with those thumbs pointing down, in, and flipping up. Then we're gonna lift up into shoulder extension. Okay, so keeping those elbows straight, we're gonna lift up behind you as high as you can while keeping the tops of the hands facing each other. Hold, and slowly come back down. This one is hit or miss. Some people have no problem with this at all. Some people really struggle with just getting their arms off the ground at all. But this is a really important movement if you wanna be able to reach behind you for any reason, right? Okay. So thumbs are in and up. Let's lift up again, pressing down into the floor, lifting up, hold, 3, 2, 1, and down. And let's do that one last time. Try to move slowly and with control, lifting up. We're gonna try to hold at the top, try not to collapse to the ground. Keep those arms straight. You'll really feel the triceps working here. And then slowly bring those arms down, float them to the ground, and release that tension. So now that we've got our flexion, abduction, and extension, let's start putting it all together. We're gonna start hovering, transitioning from one to the other, and we're gonna add the rotation of our shoulders with that. So you're gonna take your yoga blocks and you're going to place them between our flexion and abduction. So we are going to place them, this would be the easiest to hover over. This would be level 2 and level 3. You're gonna place them at level 1, 2, or 3 around the 2 o'clock mark. You don't want it to be too close into your body either. We're gonna reach out so that just your wrists are hovering over those yoga blocks. If you're at level 3 and it's still super easy, then you can slide those blocks in for more of a challenge. So we have our blocks at 2 and 10. We're gonna reset that position down on the floor with arms at 11 and 1. We're gonna lift up and over, and we're gonna keep that thumbs up position. We'll really work that rotation in our next hover. So exactly the same setup as before, whatever felt comfortable for your shoulder flexion. So if you're elevated off the floor, that's gonna work for this too. So arms are next to the ears, thumbs are pointing up. We're gonna lift up into that shoulder flexion, press down into the floor, keep the elbows straight, lifting up. And then we're gonna lift up and over those yoga blocks, hovering to 3 and 9 o'clock, and bring those arms straight down. Then we're gonna hover back in towards 11 and 1. So we're gonna lift straight up, hover back in towards 11 and 1. Try to lift those arms higher and higher, squeezing the biceps next to the ears, and come back down with control. Take a breath, let's do that again. Drive into the floor, lifting up, lifting, hovering over the blocks, keeping the thumbs pointing up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, bring those arms down. Take a breath and reverse it, lifting up, hovering back in, keep lifting up higher, hold biceps to the ears and down. Let's do that one last time. Lifting up into shoulder flexion. Keep those elbows straight as we hover up and over to the side, getting higher with each inch that we hover. Slowly bringing those arms down. And we'll go one more time. Lifting up to the side. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep those elbows straight as we hover back to flexion and come back down. Going back to, or going into now shoulder abduction, hovering to extension, we're gonna add rotation to that. So we're gonna take the yoga blocks, we're gonna move them towards 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Same exact thing, level 1, 2, 3. This one you might be able to go a little bit higher if you were at a smaller level up there with that flexion, and you might be able to scooch them a little bit closer to your body. You don't want them touching the hips because we're gonna bring the arms down right next to you in between reps. So once we have our yoga blocks set, we're gonna lay face down, Same progression that we were working on with that flexion and shoulder extension. So if you were elevated for either of those, and you're going to want to be elevated for this drill as well. The only difference this time is that we are adding the rotation. So the rotation that we practiced on the floor, where we were turning the thumbs forward, down, behind you, and up, that's what we're going to do in the air this time, okay? So you can double check, make sure your blocks are in a good position. We're going to get to that face down position again, and we're starting from abduction. So thumbs are up, arms are at 3 and 9 o'clock. Press the feet into the floor. As you exhale, lift those arms straight up. As you hover to extension, so as we're moving those arms from the right arm 4, 5, 6, or the left arm 9, 8, 7, 6, we're going to turn the thumbs forward. Then we're going to turn the thumbs down. Then we're going to turn the thumbs in. Then we're going to flip them up behind you. And then we're going to bring the arms down. All right, so if you watch that first one, let's do it all together. We're going to lift up. Then you hover, bringing those thumbs forward, down, in, up. Bring the arms down. Take a deep breath. We want to try to make it nice and smooth, so everything moves at the same time. As you exhale, we're going to lift up behind. Then we're going to hover the opposite way. Thumbs are going to go in, down, forward, up, 3 and 9 o'clock, and down. Let's try that one 2 more times. Okay, press down into the floor. We're going to lift straight up here. As we hover, thumbs turn forward, down, in, up. Bring the arms down. Try to keep those elbows straight. If you found that they bent, here's your chance to reset. Then we're going to lift up, straight up. Hover in with those thumbs, down, forward, back up, and down. Let's do that one more time. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, lift those arms straight up off the floor, and then we'll turn those thumbs forward, down, in, and we're still lifting those arms as we're hovering. Back down. I'll make it a little more challenging for myself. And we lift straight up. Hover those arms, turn those thumbs in, down, forward, up, and rest. So now we just have one more progression, which is the full swimmer, but we're going to add something to it. So it's pretty straightforward. It's easy to understand once you have all those pieces and work them individually. So now we're going to put it all together, but we're going to add one thing. Arms are going to bend. You're going to try to pull your hands behind your head at the top or at the start. And then you're going to try to slide the hands up the back once you're halfway through. Okay, so let me just show you what this looks like, and you can practice along with me if you'd like. I'll try to explain it while I'm going. We're going to start with the hands behind your head, just like we had before. We'll do our thumbs up, punch those fists together, thumbs are facing up. We're going to slowly retract the scapula, pull the shoulder blades together, and lift those hands away from the back of your head without popping that rib cage out. We're going to reach up towards that 11 and 1 o'clock, biceps next to the ears. Then we're hovering out to the side. Once we hit 3 and 9 o'clock, that's when that rotation starts with the arms all the way to extension. Now, instead of bringing the arms straight down, we're going to try to slide the hands up the back, bringing those fists together. And then we're going to reverse it. Lift the hands away from the back. We're reaching back behind you. And then we add those rotations. Thumbs down, forward, up. And then we continue up by the ears. And then we bring those fists together, slide the hands behind the head, and then we rest. So that is your full swimmer hover. We're going to put all of that together. If you would like, you can always go back to the progressions that we were doing before, and you could always just do the straight arm version, which is what we practiced, just bringing those two halves together. So in front, you're just going to bring the arms straight down by the ears, and in back from the extension, you're just going to bring your arms straight down to your hips. Okay, so the floor is going to help stabilize the spine. So if you were trying that movement along with me with the bent elbows and you felt like your rib cage was sticking out or you were kind of leaning one way or the other, the floor is going to take care of that. So you're not going to be able to rely on those compensations with the spine and the rib cage in order to hover those shoulders around. So it'll be very telling. So let's go into our hover, and you can set up your yoga blocks. If you have 4, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can set them in whichever one was more challenging for you. So this one was a little more challenging for me. So I'm gonna set my yoga blocks up at 2 and 10. All right, so let's lie face down. Hands are gonna start behind your head. We're pressing down into the floor, and we've got that thumbs up position. Fists are kind of punching together. So your elbows are rather close to your head. Okay, so we're driving down into the floor. We're gonna slowly punch those fists together and lift those elbows up, and then see if you can lift those fists off the back of your head. Very small movement. We're gonna try to keep those arms up as we reach biceps to ears. Make sure those elbows are all the way straight. Before we start that hover, we're reaching out to 3 and 9 with those arms. Once we get to 3 and 9 o'clock, we're gonna start the rotation. Thumbs forward, thumbs down, keep lifting up, thumbs in, thumbs up, all the way, squeezing those arms together. Then we're gonna slide the hands up the back, bending the elbows, slide those arms nice and high. And then let's reverse it. Reaching straight behind you, thumbs are flipped up. Then we're gonna start rotating. Make sure the elbows, once again, are nice and straight. We're gonna lift up higher as the thumbs rotate down, forward, up. We're at 3 and 9 o'clock. Keep lifting up as we pull those arms next to the ears. We're gonna bend the arms, sliding behind the head. Bring those arms down. Take a breath. That was hard. Okay, so let's readjust if we need, and we're gonna try it again. Make sure that those arms stay nice and straight. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna exhale as we lift up, lift the hands away from the head, reach biceps next to the ears. Make sure those arms are all the way straight before we lift up to hover to 3 and 9 o'clock. Once we're at 3 and 9, we can start the rotation. Thumbs forward, thumbs down, thumbs up. Straight arms here. We're gonna slide those hands together, up the back, and we reverse. Reaching up behind, this is your last rep. Straight arms, start that hover, thumbs turn in, down, forward, up. By the time we're at 3 and 9, keep lifting up over those blocks. Biceps next to the ears, straight arms. Keep lifting higher as we slide behind the head and bring everything down. Okay, really nice job. So that's a quick breakdown of your swimmer hovers. Like I said, include these in your movement prep or as a mobility drill, especially after working some shoulder rotation or scapular work. This is gonna get the upper back, the scapula, and the shoulders ready for upper body movement. If you found this helpful, please share, like, and subscribe. If you have questions about this movement, drop them in the comments below, and I will see you next time.